Hi everyone, Sandy here. In this video, and I want you to stay with me till the end, because I'm going to show you how Europeans are buying apartment hotels for $42,000 to $45,000 US dollars, and they're renting it out for $700 a month during peak season and $500 a month for the rest of the season. And yes, there is financing, and we're going to talk about the cost of living here, how to get here, and what Europeans and retirees and expats from all over the globe are doing right here in Batumi, Georgia. All that noise you hear? Well, let's see. That is the sign of progress. They're building. Okay, what if I told you that you could purchase an apartment studio in one of these magnificent buildings for $45,000? And you know what, guys? They increased my rent for July to $700 a month. Now, it's usually around $500, $550 a month, but during the summer months, when there's so many people, see all the people on the beach. And remember when I first got here, it was winter. There was nobody on the beach at the Black Sea. Let's talk about this. $45,000 for oceanfront or seafront property that you can rent out while you're retired, or while you're traveling, or while whatever. Now let's talk about Georgia, the country, not the state. History, because this matters. I could go on and on about how Batumi is located on the eastern coast of the Black Sea in southwestern Georgia. Who invaded them and when and for how long? But there are more important factors at play here. For instance, Batumi, the city where I am right now, is considered to be the Las Vegas of the Black Sea. But the city is also important to seaport and includes industries like shipbuilding, food processing, and light manufacturing. Since 2010, Batumi has been transformed by the construction of modern high-rise buildings, as well as restoration of classical 19th century buildings in its historic old town. But even more importantly than all of this is that in 1921, the Red Army invaded Georgia. The country was incorporated into the Soviet Union as the Georgian Soviet Socialist Republic. Now, Georgia remained under the Soviet rule for approximately 70 years. In 1991, independence was restored. As the Soviet Union was breaking apart, Georgia held an election in which an overwhelming majority voted for independence from Russia. On April 9th, 1991, Georgia officially restored its independence. Now, why is that important? And why does it matter for investors? Not really. It's not really important, except that the locals are mostly Russian. And Russian is widely spoken throughout the country. Everyone over the age of 35 was born in Russia, even though they have lived here in Georgia, the country of Georgia, all their lives. So if you have an aversion to Russia, you may want to consider other investment or retirement destinations. That said, you want to understand that the cost of living here is low and the quality of life is high. There is very little crime. Since I have been here, I have met people from Israel, Russia, Syria, Switzerland, Turkey, Egypt, Asia, India, and the mainland Europe. And there are Americans living in Georgia, but I have not met any yet. If you have been watching this channel for any length of time, then you know we on this channel base the cost of living on the average monthly salary of the local people, because that is how much money it takes to live in their country. The local people here in Georgia earn between $850 to $920 US in value each month. Do I need to repeat that? $850 to $920 US. So what that means is if your retirement income is more than that, preferably twice, then you can easily afford to live in Georgia. But here is the really good news. Foreigners can get a mortgage in Georgia, the country, not the state. The down payment is only about 30%, and the payment period can be up to 10 years. Now, the interest rate is around 11.5%. And most of the new buildings going up in the city of Batumi, overlooking the Black Sea, they do have financing. Now, let's talk about getting here to Batumi and what major international cities are nearby. For this, we go to sites like directflights.com. Here you will find the direct flights from Batumi or the city you are in to other cities where you can connect to flights directly back to the US, Canada, or Europe. Now, and this gives you an example of my slow travel. I flew into Batumi, Georgia from Turkey, the country, where I spent several days. I flew to Turkey from Egypt, where I spent 30 days. I flew from Madrid, Spain, where I spent overnight, and my flight from North America to Spain was from the Dominican Republic, where I stayed 4 months, and Peru before that. The flight from the Dominican Republic to Madrid, Spain was under $750, and it was pretty much one of the shortest flights across the Atlantic. I was very concerned about being on an aircraft for over 8-9 hours. That's just not my idea of fun. But this gives you an idea of my slow travel.